I've also heard you talk about why it's unpopular for men to be seen as stoic anymore. What's your insight there?
Well, again, yeah, a stoic man is a toxic man in the minds of Hollywood writers, whereas I see it as like a necessary survival skill, really, throughout most of human history. Like you can't have everyone be high-strung, emotional idiots who just go to pieces the moment like things start going wrong. There needs to be stoic people who can deal with problems logically and don't complain all the time about things. You know, it's people used to live hard lives. I guess that's the point I'm making. Previous generations would be shocked and appalled by how easy we have it now, but they used to struggle and they used to have to put up with a lot of hardship, and you developed stoicism as a result of that. That's what allowed you to deal with it, because you couldn't sit and complain all the time because there was no one to complain to. You had to get on and do things. We don't live in that world now, and so that idea of stoicism, the stoic man who gets things done and who doesn't complain about it, that is seen as a toxic relic of a different time. And I think particularly because of the writers that you have, you've either got women now in Hollywood who are threatened by that, or you have effeminate men who've never endured hardship, who are envious of that. And so either side wants to destroy it and get rid of it and mock it because they don't understand it. And so that's what you have now. You don't get stoic male characters. They have to be constantly joking. They have to be constantly like doing the goofy, self-conscious, ironic humor about themselves. They usually have to mess things up. Like, it's just, I don't know about you. That's not the kind of men that I've known in my entire life. Like, they don't act like that. That's a caricature Hollywood bullshit version of what a man is meant to act like. But that's what they come up with.
It's not accurate the way that women act either. Most of the women that I know, especially the ones that I respect and admire, can deal with difficult things. They can go through hardship. And it's not a uniquely male trait in the slightest. And you know, it's not that women would be expected to be, you know, super feminine and you know, hyper emotional about everything. Not at all. There's usually a little bit of granular sort of variation between them for sure. But again, their idea of like writing a strong female character now is just someone who's a total asshole, who is like super aggressive, super domineering, wins every argument, never gets challenged on anything, doesn't have any compassion or anything for other people. Again, that's not really how I've known women to act. You used this really good example of the animated Mulan movie compared with the live-action remake that they did. And in the original one, the girl that joins this fighting force is smaller and doesn't have experience and needs to work incredibly hard to overcome her physical limitations of being physically smaller than everybody else. And she has to use ingenuity and different tools, and she has to be smarter and she has to work harder. And that invests you in the character. I care about her outcomes because an underdog story is one that you're always going to resonate with. And then it comes to the live action version, which is a girl pretends to be a guy because there aren't enough soldiers, and then is simply better than everybody else because of some ineffable, inherent, embodied thing like chi, like super chi, estrogen chi or something. And because of the estrogen chi, it means that she can beat people that have been doing it for much longer than her, that have worked harder than her. She doesn't have to go through any difficulty or any challenge, apart from people not believing in her primarily because of her gender. And then she can save the day. Like, that's not an empowering story. Any woman that thinks that that's an empowering story for your daughter to have doesn't have the same definition of empowerment that I do.
Yeah. It's the perfect example, really, of the kind of ridiculous thinking that you have now in movie making when it comes to writing characters like that. Like you say, the original gave you a great message, not just for little girls, but for anyone, really. Like, you might not always be the strongest, you might not be the fastest or whatever, but you can still prevail through working hard, through ingenuity, through creativity, All of those things can help you overcome limitations. But yeah, the modern movie is basically saying you have no limitations. You're amazing. Just everyone else needs to accept how amazing you are. It's such a destructive message to give people, because life is meant to be about improving yourself. It's meant to be about trying and failing and picking yourself up and doing better next time. That's the point of it.
I learned a new word a couple of weeks ago called fanbaiting. Have you heard of this?
Mm-hmm. Made a video about it, in fact.
Did you really? Explain to people who don't know what fanbaiting is.
So, in broad terms, fanbaiting is the idea of we're going to create a new TV show or whatever. It's probably going to be an adaptation or a remake of something that you love. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to race and or gender swap most of the characters. We're going to make a huge deal out of the fact that we're doing that. And we're basically saying to the fans of this franchise, hey, we're changing everything that you love. Doesn't it make you mad? Don't you want to lash out? Don't you want to criticize us? Go on, do it. Do it. See what happens. And that's what happens, you know? People rise to the bait. They get mad about it. Inevitably, some people will go too far and they will be genuine sexists or racists. They'll say things that are very inappropriate. And those people those comments that they make get caught, they get captured, they get spread out for everyone to see by the actual company that's doing this, the studio. And they'll say, look, this fan base is toxic. The only people that hate this product are racists and sexists. You don't want to be like that, do you? You don't want to be one of those people. You want to be a good person. You want to support the thing that we're doing, don't you? Support it. Just go along with it. And that's it. That's what it is. It shames people into supporting something which is fundamentally shit. It's fan baiting. It baits people into doing the thing that they want so that they can trumpet it as, well, we're just on the right side here and everyone else who criticizes our product is on the wrong side. That's all it is.
There is only so far that you can push people through guilt and shame to be able to do something. It's an interesting analogy with some of the issues that came up in the early 2010s when 50 Shades had done really, really well as a novel and the dark romance genre generally was taking off. Everything was great. But there were some concerns that the kind of erotica novels that women were buying were showing a very competent, very assertive, very dominant protagonist in the man. So what they did was they tried to replace those men on the front cover with much more kind, gentle, more agreeable, less dominant men. And guess what? They didn't sell well, right?
The heart wants what the heart wants. What can I say?
Yeah, dude, your money and your arousal are two things that you don't tend to give away without actually genuinely wanting to. And the fanbaiting thing's so fascinating. We saw this with, what was that thing? Bros? Boy, what was it? Bros?
Bros.
Yes, which is
I never watched it, but I know. Yeah, I know the director basically was like, you know, if you don't watch this, you're a bigot, and it's like that's just mask off, like straight up. It's the equivalent of basically getting down on your knees and begging people to watch your show or your TV or your movie. You know, it's pathetic and it's sad, and it really exposed how bad that stuff was.
What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.